Yo everybody, hi, my name is Lampy Moth, and today I'm going to show you how to do the hair physics. If you wanted bouncy and flowy hair for your LIVE2D model, then this video should be able to help you. Without further ado, let's begin. I'm going to show you how to do that with just this one hair strand right here. And you'll be using this for most of the hair strand layers that you have for your model. And though this one's a very large one, this should still be able to apply to your model as well. So what we need to do is first, we need to select the main layers, and for this, it's just going to be the hair layer as well as the shadow. We're going to put them both under the same deformer. And next, we got to create said deformer. And this is going to be the part where it gets a little tricky because we're going to need to make a lot of deformers, but it'll make a lot more sense once you see it. So first, let's call this hair phys X. And then we put create. Also, we got to go to our number of conversion divisions over here. We got to make sure the whole thing is 8 by 8. You can make it as many conversions as you like, but for me personally, I'm just going to go with 8 by 8 for this. This will change up these little vertex dots here and add a lot more than it normally would. So let's do that. Now that we got physics X, we got to go to the layer parts again because we need to make at least 3 to 4 of these deformers. You can make as many as you like, but for this case, since it's a very long hair strand, we're probably going to go with 4. On average, you could go with 3, maybe even 2. I personally would say the best option is 3, but if it's a very long hair strand, and this applies to a lot of physics, if it's a very long physics strand, go with 4. But on average, 3 is a good number. So let's continue from there. Make sure that you selected the layer parts for this. You know what? Let's show you an example as to why you select the layer parts instead of selecting the other deformer. We're going to delete this one anyway, because this is going to be an example. Let me show you why you go for the layer parts and not the deformer. We put create, and when we put create, I want you to look at the deformer box right now. Look, you'll notice that the new deformer box is slightly bigger than the original one. Here's our current one. This is the new one. As you can see, there's a significant difference in size. Now, we don't want that because we got to make a lot of these, and the more and more we make, the larger the box is going to get, and that's going to make things a lot more difficult. So let's delete that, and let's go back to the hair layer, and like I said, select the parts underneath the deformer, and then we're going to name this one hair phys X2. And then we put create, and you'll notice this time around, when you look at the two boxes, they're essentially the same size, and that is exactly what we needed. We need to do that 2 more times. Hair phys X3, hair phys X4. We still need to do a couple more things, which is we need to make the Y deformers now. And that's going to be the exact same thing as before. We just select the parts, put phys Y2. I've heard some people use 3 for that extra bounce. You can do that too if you like. Now that we got that part done, create a new folder. You can find that at the parameter tab. Go to that little folder, create that. And then we just rename that to hair phys. All right, now what we need to do is create a parameter. So let's select the hair physics folder. Let's make sure we're on the parameter tab. Aim down here where this little plus sign that says create new parameter, click on that, and you'll see this new window pop up. And it might look a little intimidating, but do not worry. All you got to do is just name it hair phys X. And as for ranges, I'm going to move it from -10 to maximum 10. Then we put create. Unfortunately, this is going to be the part that gets a little tedious, because now we need to make a parameter for each of those physics deformers that we just made. But do not worry. Once you set up these parameters, every other deformer that goes down the similar road will be able to use these ones as well. Unless it's for clothing, then you might want to switch that up to a new set of parameters. In which case, good luck. Okay, so now that we got our physics deformer set up and our physics parameters set up, we can actually move on to the step where things actually start moving. So what we need to do is select our hair physics X deformer as a green box and our hair physics X parameter with the 3 green dots like so. And now we can actually start moving things around. Let's select everything below the top 3 rows. Now we're going to take this red dot, move it all the way to the right. What we need to do next is rotate it in the direction you want it to go. If you moved it to the right, you want the hair to rotate in the direction like it's moving to the right. And we just hold the shift key so it doesn't move an inch. Move it to the right. Rotate a little bit more if need be necessary. And I think in this situation it might be. Just rotate a little bit more. Go to the opposite direction. Rotate it in the opposite way. Move it a little more to the left. Now, this section is going to look a little bugged, and that's okay. We're going to fix that. But first, we need to see something. As you can tell, when it rotates, or when it swings in one direction and the other, it stretches a little bit, and we don't want that stretch. So, what we need to do is just lift this part up just a little bit. Just a little on one direction. Move it to the other side. Lift it up just a little bit in that direction as well. And it should reduce the stretch on the hair a little bit. I'm gonna move this a little bit more to the right. And as you can see, this part is a little bugged, and that's okay. If things look a little wonky, just warp the hair a little bit here and there until, you know, certain sections don't look so bad. And if all else fails, there's one other trick we can do. What we need to do is actually go to our hair layers for this. Make sure we're on Hair Physics X. Put the 3 green dots for the layers themselves. Specifically, the main hair layer. Just get this section here. Just reshape it a little bit. Reshape the actual layer itself to where it doesn't look so disjointed or misshapen, if you will. We make sure that this is set up on the parameter, so when we move it back to normal, the mesh will also change according to that as well. Let's hide the mesh, let's hide the deformer, and let's see the results. Now you can tell there is a little bit of a change, but you know what? It's better than having that wonky little shape there. So you know what? We're going to roll with that one. And see, there we go. So we got that rotation there. Now, this doesn't seem all that impressive right now, but give it a minute. I'm going to show you why we're going to go with this method over the skinning and deform path method. Now that we got that section set up, we got to go to the second deformer, deformer X2, as well as deformer X2 on the parameter as well. This is why I said this part's going to get tedious, but it's going to be well worth it. And we just got to repeat the process as we did before, except we got to select a smaller section. We're going to go 2 rows down for deformer 2, and we're going to do the exact same method as before. To make sure that we don't get that bounce or stretch. This one's a slight stretch, and when that case happens, there is a simple solution to fix that problem. Select certain parts of the box, the deformer, just lift those things up a bit. Just take all those parts, move them around here and there as best as you possibly can. All right, now that we got that done, let's see the end result. And there we go. That looks fine. As well as when we rotate it in that direction, rotate it in the other direction. All right, seems good. Seems good. Now that we got that part, third step. And as mentioned before, this is just going to be a bit of a repetitive process, but you'll see the end result once we're done. Select the last 2 down here. There we go, that should be good. All right, let's see the end result for that part as well. Yeah, there we go. Now that we got the swing effect for all of it, it's time to work on the bounce. Now, what we need to do, go to physics setting Y, parameter Y, put the 3 green dots. Seems as simple as before, and you're assuming that we're going to rotate everything. Not this time around, not this time. We're going to be taking things a little bit differently. We're going to select everything except for the top 2 rows. Push the hair and stretch it outwards, like so. We could even rotate a little bit if we really wanted to. And that seems okay. Now that we got that whole section done, let's go back over here, select everything but the top 2. Now that it's on the left side, drag down. Since the hair is going to be moving downwards, it's going to be less of a change in comparison to the previous one. It's only going to stretch down a little bit. Squish the hair a little bit to the inside and rotate it to the left a little bit, and even move it like so. Let's see the results. Yeah, it feels like it has a little bit more of a bounce going on there. That's one part, and we need to work on the next section. So Y2. We're not going to make any selections on the deformer. We're going to keep it as a whole. We're just going to take this bottom half and really just drag it up a bit. Let's also go to our Bezier edit type that says retain control structure that you can see up here. We're just going to move that to smooth. So when we warp this around, it'll, smoothen out the shape a little bit. As you can see. Also, as mentioned before, if you're trying to get to that centerpiece, but this part keeps messing with you and it selects the whole thing and lets you move the whole thing instead of selecting that one part, all you got to do is go to this side of the red box. You will see this little X. Click on that X. Now that red dot is gone, and now you can just warp this however you see fit. Like so. Boom, there we go. And you know what? Let's shape this a little bit. Just warp it just a slight smidge. There we go, that should be good. What we just basically want to do is just give it that warp that it's moving up. Like so. This is probably what the end result is going to look like, and if that's the case, we might need to bring this down just a little bit. Just a little. We might have went a little too ham on that. There we go. That should be okay. Now that we got that, we move it to the left. Maybe slightly move the top just a little bit so it doesn't feel so stiff. Like so. That should be okay. Now that we got that effect, we should be all good. But if you really, really want to add some extra features to it, what you can also do is go to the third one. And for the third one, I'm thinking maybe give it a slight rotation, or maybe even just warp the bottom a little bit. I'm thinking for this case, I'm going to go to part 3, select that part, and just warp certain sections a little bit. Now it's time for the actual physics movement. Let's go to the physics settings. Now, how do we get to those physics settings? Here's how we got to do so. We got to go all the way to the top, and you'll see a bunch of tabs. You'll see File, Edit, etc., etc. The one we want to go to is the one called Modeling. Let's select Modeling right there, click on it, and you'll see a bunch of new tabs pop up, and that's going to look very intimidating. Do not worry about those ones. Just go to the one at the way bottom. Click on that, and now we have the model shown up, and a bunch of other things that's going to intimidate you. Don't worry about that. This is basically going to show you what the model is looking like so far. And this is the current result that we have for the movement at the moment. As you can see, the hair does not move like at all. Do not worry. We're going to fix that right now. You're going to see this part of the hair specifically move around like crazy. So how do we get that done? What we have to do is create a new physics group. So we're going to go to this tab and we're going to click Add. And a new tab will pop up. It'll give you some presets and all of that stuff, but do not worry about any of those. What we want to do right now is just select a name for now. And for this one, I'm going to call it Hair Biz X. I know, very creative, but do not worry. There's a good reason for that. We put OK. And now, as you'll see, everything else is blank. That's because we're going to do all of this manually. For the hair, we need to go to the input settings. You'll see that the preset says nothing. It has head input, body input, bust input, all of that stuff. Do not worry about any of that. We're just going to go to Add. We click on Add. And then it's going to show you all the parameters that you made before. For this situation, we're just going to select angle X and angle Z for this part specifically. And you know what? Body X as well, just to be safe. Select those parts. These are going to be the parameters that will determine when it triggers the physics. So when the hair moves or any of that sort of stuff, it is based off of when these 3 parameters move. So these are basically like your head shake, the body shake, the head rotation, all of that stuff. So you'll notice that we only put the X and Z angles for this, where the Y angles, those will be in an individual group. I forgot to mention, when it comes to the physics settings and your inputs, you have 2 different types of inputs. You have position and angle, as you can see right there. Depending on how many parameter inputs you have, like angle X and body X, they will have to share a certain value or a certain number between 1 and 100. So let's say you go to angle X and you put this all the way to 100. You're assuming, okay, let's go to body X and put that as 100 as well. And as you see, as we try to drag it to increase the number, We can't, because it's sharing the same number with angle X over here. So, when it comes to this thing, you need to consider how much you want for each position, as well as the angle. So for this situation, I want the head to use the most movement. Let's go with 70. And for angle X, it's going to take the rest, so that's going to be 30. Same thing with angle Z. We're going to move this to 60. And then 40 for body Z. Now that we got that set up, we need to work on the next step. What we need to do is go to our physics model settings right over here. This time we're actually going to use one of the pre-established templates. We're actually going to go for hair triple pendulum for this one. Click on that. Put import. And as you can see, we have 1, 2, and 3 on the settings, but we might need to add a fourth one for for all 4 parameters to have their own respective setting when it comes to the swing. So we're going to just go to pendulum settings and just click add. We're just going to adjust this to the same settings as the last one that was made. There we go. So now that everything's repeated on that part, that should be okay. Now that we got all that set up, we now move on to the output settings, because as you can see, we have everything set up, and you can see that dial down there, or that little pendulum down there. It's moving, it's swinging, everything is going crazy, and that's okay. But however, as you can tell on the model itself, nothing's moving. So here's what we got to do next. So for this part, it's going to be real easy. What we need to do is go to our output settings, go to add below it, click on that, and you'll see a window pop up. This will show us all our current parameters. And unlike last time, where we just selected the angles, like the movement parameters, this time we're going to use the actual physics parameters. Specifically, the X angles for those parameters. So the hair fizz 1 through 4 are the ones that we're going to select. We're going to leave the Y parameters alone for this. Just select those 4. So now we got that 1, 2, 3, and 4. And as you can see, a slight movement, ever so slightly. And you're probably thinking, that's it? Luckily, no, that is not it. So what we need to do next for that part, in order to make that really count, because as you can see, the scale over here is telling us that it's a very low scale. It's just a 1. Now, we can either add those ones manually, which we probably will later, or adjust them later. But if you really want the effects to really start kicking, what we got to do is just go to increase output. Click on that. The tab will pop up. Would you like to adjust? Yes. Now you can see that those ones changed into an entirely different number. Instead of being 1, now it is 15, 16, all of that stuff. And now there's a bit more movement, and that's okay. It's looking all right, but honestly, I feel like the movement could be better. It could be stronger. You got to do this manually. Instead of 15, we're going to go with, let's say, 40 on X, 40 on X2, 30 on X3, and 10 on X4. Let's see the results now. Yeah, it's definitely X1 that isn't going as far as it should. So we actually need to backtrack on this one. The best part about all of this is when you change the parameters and the deformers and all of that stuff here, you will not have to do the same process all over again in the physics settings. The physics settings will stay the same as before. This time we're going to go with the top 2 rows, and we're going to move this a lot further out. All right. It's definitely moving a lot more, moving a lot better. Now, where's the bounce? We will be adding that now. So we go back to our input settings, add a new one. So we're going to put hair physics Y. Keep it all blank, put OK. Now that changed to nothing. We go to our preset, go all the way to the right on preset, go to add, and instead of picking angle X, we just pick angle Y. So now that we have that, go to the preset down here, put the triple pendulum, put import. We go to output setting. Go below that, put add. We're going to put fizz Y. Put all 3 of them there. Put OK. Increase the output. Let's see how far this one goes. Nothing, because we didn't move it. Increase, or click on it now. 13. That's okay. I feel like we could do better than that. Bump it up to at least 20 on 1, 10 on 2, and we'll leave 10 on 3 as well. Let's see. Okay. It's definitely a lot more flowy, but now we need to work on the pendulum settings here. I will definitely say, when it comes to the scale and the pendulum settings, that is more of an experimental part of the section. Do not take these numbers as gospel, as every model is different. Everything changes in their own way. So if you want to go through the output settings, this one is going to be trial and error. Just test things out, test the numbers, and see what works best for your specific hair settings. But now you can see this is the finished result. It's a lot more bouncy, it's a lot more flowy, and it still has that similar rotation effects as you would with the skinning and deform path setting. But this way, instead of it just moving left to right as normal, it also has a little bit of vibrance, it has a little bit of bounce, it has a little bit of shaping and all of that. Now, for the more difficult part, is doing that for every single hair strand. And with that being said, thank you all for watching. If you only needed to work on hair physics, then I hope this video helped. If you wanted to learn how to make an entire model from the start to finish, check out the YouTube playlist. And with that being said, I hope you all have a good day, a better tomorrow, and a great week.